Hey, what is up, mortals? It is WASDemons here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 5 of season 1 of What If Deku Had Daredevil's Powers. Just wanted to greet you guys with saying sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, let's begin. I always wanted to be a hero. Tried the UA exams, but I couldn't get in. My quirk just wasn't good enough. Koichi gulped down a ball of water as he spoke. What do you mean? Your quirk's amazing! You're so fast and flexible. I'm always on the receiving end 90% of the time, even with my senses. Midoriya replied in disbelief. Ah, shucks, thanks, Izuku. But I guess at that time I really wasn't good enough for UA. Not until I met the old man here, who whipped me up to shape. But I moved on. I'm fine with just helping who I can without a license. You have a shot to become the pro I couldn't, and it kind of makes me happy. Koichi smiled. Thanks, don't worry, I'll become a hero for the both of us, Holler. Midoriya teased. Hey, it's Crawler, not Holler! Koichi retorted. Midoriya smiled fondly, remembering his time with his training partner. He'd done well on their promise, and had gotten himself into the hero course. He searched for Class 1A till he came up to a door with 1A boldly written on it. Izuku felt the letters and discovered it was written in red. Another odd ability Midoriya realized was that he could distinguish various colors, possibly by how much heat it was absorbing or reflecting. The freckled boy looked beyond the class wall. He could see his classmates on their seats. Bakugo was being pestered by the boy with glasses from the exams. Take your feet off of that desk now! The boys said to Bakugo as they continued to argue with one another. Just my luck. Bakugo's in my class. Oh well, I better get in. Midoriya sighed, pushing the door open. The whole class focused on him. Who's that? It's him, from the news. Don't you remember? The boy involved in the accident. People all over the class whispered. He could hear them all. Midoriya ignored it. What he couldn't ignore was the boy coming up to him. Good morning. My name is Tenya Ida. Ida spoke, charging with intent. Hey, I'm Izuku Midoriya, he replied. You're the one who rescued that girl. Did you suspect that there was something more to the practical exams? That's very perceptive, Ida said, nodding his head in respect. Not really. I just knew I had to help her since she was in trouble. Speaking of the devil, Midoriya replied, muttering the last part under his breath as Uraraka appeared behind him. I know that messy hair anywhere. The boy who saved me twice! Uraraka beamed. Oh, hey, floating girl, Midoriya replied as the girl made small talk. Izuku was kind of happy he got to see familiar faces. He smelled someone familiar behind him. That made him smile. I didn't know you'd be here, Aizawa-san. Midoriya smiled, looking at the middle-aged man who was on the floor in a sleeping bag. That's Aizawa-sensei to you. I don't suppose you're all here to make friends. Hello, I'm Shota Aizawa, your teacher, the shabby-looking teacher said, holding a sports uniform. Put these on and follow me, Aizawa said. They were having a quirk assessment test. 8 tests using their quirks for physical exercises. At the end of the day, the person who came in last got expelled. Aizawa made himself very clear. The first test was a 50-meter dash. Midoriya had to run alongside Bakugo. The feisty blonde raised himself in the crouching position as he looked over at Izuku. Look, I know you got caught up in an accident when you tried to help, but apparently you've been hiding some secrets. Quirk you never told anyone about. I got the news of what that thing did to your eyes, but yet you passed the exams and here you are. I was supposed to be the only one from that damn school going to UA, Deku. So, it definitely means you're trying to compete with me, which means I'm going to put my reservations aside and crush you with everything I've got, just like I'll do to all these other bastards, Bakugo yelled, scowling at Midoriya. Well, the past year has been hard on me. You wouldn't believe how hard, Kachan, but you're right. I'm here to compete with the very best to become a hero. So bring it on! Izuku answered with a determined smile. The boys faced the finish line as they waited for the sound of the starting pistol. Izuku knew Bakugo was going to blaze past him with his explosions, but that didn't matter. This was about getting a proper time record for himself. So, he had to react the fastest. There was always a lag in the response of runners from when they heard the gun to when they began moving. Izuku was going to try to eliminate that lag and run in sync with the sound. So he listened. Bang! The loud explosion came. Izuku heard everything before, the clicking of the triggers, the blank shell being pushed through the piston as it exploded, releasing white smoke. Izuku achieved all this through intense focus, but he still had lag. His reflexes were honed, but Midoriya was still an amateur. There was only so much Knuckle Duster could teach him without actually having these powers for himself. Regardless, Midoriya was way faster to react than Bakugo. dashing off quickly trying to reach his top speed. His quickness disoriented Bakugo momentarily, but the boy caught his bearings and fired off his explosions. Die! Bakugo yelled as he soared through the air, catching up and eventually overtaking Midoriya, crossing the finish line. 4.13 seconds, the machine called out Bakugo's time. Midoriya crossed the finish line, panting hard. 5.45 seconds, the machine called out his score. Not good enough, you damn nerd! How the heck do you think you're gonna compete with me being so pathetic? Bakugo mocked. The next test was the grip test. Izuku discovered he had a grip strength of 63 kilograms. From the sit-ups to the seated toe touch to the long-distance run, Midoriya held his own. His time under Knuckle Duster involved brutal training, and this was a walk in the park, except for when his classmates' quirks gave them the advantage. He did poorly in the softball throw. It wasn't exactly his forte, sadly, but he was confident he wouldn't rank last. Alright, time to give you all your results, Aizawa said, displaying a holographic message that showed their results. I'm sorry I can't actually see the rankings. It's hard to explain, so could you tell me my rank? Midoriya asked Uraraka, who stood beside him. The holographic display emitted radiation that messed with him, hence the reason he couldn't read it. Explaining it to Uraraka would be a hassle, but luckily, she didn't press for details. Oh, Midoriya, you're ranked in 7th place. That's pretty amazing, Uraraka encouraged. Midoriya sighed discontentedly. The students later found out Aizawa's bluff, giving them a sigh of relief from all the built-up anxiety. With that, the first day of school was over. The next day was filled with different classes. They were having a very boring English class with present Mike when Ida got up to ask a question. I do not mean to interrupt the class, but I have a question that begs an answer. Is it part of school dress conduct to allow Midoriya to wear fashionable classes in uniform? Ida asked present Mike. I'm not sure, present Mike began before Midoriya interjected. I wear them because I'm blind, the boy said bluntly, setting up for a very awkward silence in class. Oh, pardon my, asking, Ida said, sitting down clearly embarrassed. So let's go on, shall we? Mike said, continuing his class. The teacher avoided the conversation completely. Class later on was one Midoriya was most eager for. The class with All Might. Hero Basic Training. Izuku could hear his mighty steps as he walked towards the classroom full of eager students. I am here! The hero slid into the class with gusto. I'm so pumped for this class, a student said. I can't believe he's really here at UA! That's so awesome! Another chimed in. All Might explained that this was their most important class that taught them the basics of being a hero, and their first lesson was fight training. You will all get suited up in the costumes you requested for before school began for this exercise, All Might added. The walls whirred mechanically as boxed compartments slid out of them, each box numbered in green. Midoriya made sure he updated his quirk status before the start of school. There's no way the boy could enroll in UA without a quirk. Another hard reality of the Hero Society. Quirkless people just weren't good enough. His abilities, on the other hand, could easily pass off as a quirk. Izuku dubbed his quirk Hyperflex, basically meaning hyper reflexes. Knuckle Duster said it was cheesy, but Midoriya liked it. He described it as a quirk that enhanced his reflexes, an understatement to what his prowess was. But the less people knew about his powers, the better. Midoriya ensured he included the fact that his quirk was triggered awake by becoming blind and not by the chemical. Class 1A walked to ground beta, gleaming in their hero costumes. They wore it all, from the flashy ones to those that aided their quirk or represented a hero they idolized. The boy rushed out to ground beta to join his classmates. His costume was modeled just like his idol All Might. His circumstances didn't change his love for the number one hero. His green jumpsuit was remodeled to a hero costume. He wore elbow pads and red boots. Izuku wore his mask. It had yellow lenses embedded that were tinted, and it had a mouth set that resembled smiling teeth. They made a mistake with my suit, but it'll have to do. He had requested for his suit to have ears similar to All Might's hair, but instead he got spiky protrusions that looked like devil horns. Looking sharp, you newbies! For this test, you'll be grouped in teams of good guys and bad guys, and fight in a 2-on-2 battle, the symbol of peace explained. Just like good cop, bad cop, Jiro said while All Might kept explaining. And I forgot to mention, someone special will be viewing the test today. A very big businessman from overseas plans to start a branch of his business here in Japan, and he appears to be keen on young talents. He's even offering to take some of you in as interns with some of his own heroes during your internships. So if you do well, you might just be lucky. With that, the students' excitement elevated. Lively murmurs filled the grounds. Though I wonder why an outsider would be allowed into UA, All Might whispered to himself quietly, with a moment of concern on his face. The hero was sure no one could hear him, but Midoriya did, and instantly thought of the ride he received the day before. Was that man watching them right now? The boy wondered. Izuku didn't see the reason for his teacher's worry if it was Mr. Fisk. There was no need for alarm. He was a good man in the Freckled Boy's books. We'll draw lots to pick the team, the hero said, holding a yellow box that read lots in black. Before we continue, allow me to tell you about Honey. Honey is a free browser add-on available on Google, Opera, Firefox, Safari. If it's a browser, it is Honey. Honey automatically saves you money when you check out on sites like Amazon, Papa John's, Kohl's. All you have to do when you're checking out at these major sites is click that little orange button, and it will scan the entire internet and find discount codes for you. It takes 2 clicks to install Honey. Now, anytime you check out, Honey will scan the entire internet and find coupon codes for you. If there's a coupon code, they'll find it. And if there's not a coupon code, you can rest assured that you're getting the best prices possible, and there's literally not one available. If you install Honey right now, you can save about $50 to $100 on your shopping by doing nothing. There's literally no reason not to install Honey. It takes 2 clicks, 10 million people use it, 100,000 5-star reviews. Unless you hate money, you should install Honey. The lots were drawn, and Midoriya was luckily aligned with a familiar face, Uraraka, the girl he'd saved twice. Izuku got to know her name the day before when they walked home together alongside Ida. But with all the rotten luck, the boy was pitted against Bakugo. He was the protagonist while his childhood friend became the antagonist. A typical anime plot, Midoriya thought to himself. Bakugo stared him down. Midoriya returned the stare confidently from behind his mask. Maybe this was actually a good thing. A chance to test how much he had learned against a powerful quirk. Do we really need to memorize the floor plans? Uraraka whined. Not really. I've basically got a rundown of the interior. I know where they are, Midoriya replied, ignoring the layout of the building given to him, and searching the place with his senses. Oh, that's true, your quirk. What is it, anyway? I haven't really seen you do anything special, Ochako asked. Luckily, Midoriya didn't have to explain. All Might's voice over the speakers signaled the beginning of the exercise. We'll talk about that later. Come on, let's go, Izuku urged his partner. They got into the building through a window. We're in. It seems like there's a lot of blind spots we could easily get jumped, Uraraka said, following Midoriya's lead. Oh, don't worry, I can see through those easily, the boy replied, much to her confusion. Izuku looked beyond it all, the walls and obstructions. He picked out the boys' signatures. One was him stationary on the last floor, and the other was taking a route that would eventually lead him to them. Look, I have a plan. Bakugo is obviously coming for us, or me to be exact. This place has many twists and turns he could easily jump us from, but we can use it to our advantage. I know his exact location. We'll have to use your quirk for this plan to work, Izuku explained. Okay, Deku, Ochako replied eagerly. She called him the name Bakugo always used when he mocked Izuku. It had sort of grown on her. Deku walked down a hall that had many detours on either side of the wall. He was rather careless about things, almost like he was inviting attention. The boy made a lot of noise with his steps, sounds that bounced down the many paths. Uraraka wasn't with him. She was waiting for a signal. Midoriya had to set up a ploy here. Bakugo would think he was cornering him here, but it was in fact the opposite. He'd done many pincer attacks like this, where he had to hide it out and come out at the right time. Only this time, Izuku hoped his rival wouldn't notice the oddity in him being alone. Okay, go time, Deku thought to himself. He could see Bakugo through the wall. Izuku was sure Kacchan knew he was just around the corner. So, Izuku walked right into his line of view, and the blonde pounced, leaping towards Midoriya with a palm brimming with explosions. But the boy didn't stop. He had anticipated the attack. Midoriya rolled ahead of Bakugo just before the wall caved in from his rash attack. See what I mean? Blind people don't do that! What the hell are you hiding, you bastard? Bakugo's eyes flared as he charged towards Midoriya. You know what? I tried to be cool about things and respect your condition, but I don't care anymore. I'm going to beat you so bad, you'll actually go blind, you liar! Kacchan yelled. Izuku stood his ground. The smell Bakugo's sweat gave off just before his palms exploded, the timing of his steps, and the tensing of the muscles in his right arm. Even without all these, Deku knew his rival's first attack was always a right hook. Midoriya grabbed Bakugo's arm and hooked it under his left arm. His free hand gripped the side of his classmate's head, bringing his midsection closer to Izuku's knee, which he then drove into Kacchan's gut, taking out all of his air. Midoriya's transition was fluid. His hand left the boy's head and gripped his throat. Izuku tugged hard on Bakugo's arm and throat, throwing him down the hall. Sorry, Kachan. I think I'd like to hold on to my secrets. Uraraka, now! The moment Bakugo hit the floor, Midoriya gave the order. The girl cosplaying an astronaut came running out of a passage just beside Bakugo. She touched Katsuki and ran up to her partner as Bakugo began to float up to the ceiling. Damn it, let me down or I'll kill you! Bakugo flailed in the air, threatening Ochako, who appeared to be frightened. Come on, let's go to where the bomb is. You won't be able to leave here, Midoriya urged her. They took another route and raced away from Katsuki, headed towards Ida. So, how are you enjoying the test? I feel it quite odd a foreigner was able to gain pass into the country's leading school for heroes just days after arriving. You must have friends in high places, Mr. Fisk. From another room, the principal observed the battle trial with a visitor, a bulky American who wore a white suit and a cleanly shaved head. Well, what can I say? When I'm keen on something, I like to observe it with my own eyes. But at the end of the day, I'm just a humble spice trader, the American replied with fluent Japanese. Ah, I see. I have no doubt my students would serve you well if they were to intern with your heroes later on. The principal nodded in agreement. A red light flashed in the room with a siren going off. The school's defense system has been breached. A voice relayed the message to the principal over the comm in the mouse's ear. What? I want all available heroes on deck. Send them the location of the breach and get them to contain the threat, the principal replied. That's the thing. The breach dropped all the defenses at once. It didn't just come from one place, and the defenses came back up as soon as it disappeared. The breach seemed to be internal. The threat could be anywhere, the person over the comms said. Have the teachers patrolling the grounds and the students secured in their classes. Relay the message to All Might. It seems this training will have to come to an end, Nezu said in a worried tone. I assume it's time to take my leave, Wilson spoke, getting to his feet. Oh, I'm afraid I can't let you leave. There appears to be some unforeseen incident. I'm afraid we'll have to keep you here and search you, the principal said. I assure you you'll find nothing on me. But you'll find yourself losing a potential investor, Wilson said, visibly irritated. Sadly, it's measures we have to take to ensure our students' safety. We have to get up there fast and deal with Ida. Once we touch that bomb, it'll be over, Izuku explained to his partner as they ran towards the door of the top floor. What's that noise? Ochako questioned. Oh shoot, he's here! Izuku looked over his shoulder to see Bakugo rocketing towards them at top speed. You do not walk away from me, you bastard! Kachan yelled. He used his explosions to push him forward. Him being afloat appeared to make his flight quicker and faster. The bully rammed into the pair, sending them straight through the door. It appears you've brought the heroes right to us. That was very unwise of you, Ida commented, putting himself between the heroes and the bomb. Oh, shut it! We can easily kill them all from here, Bakugo said, keeping himself stable with explosions. I do not believe that was the purpose of this, Ida was interrupted. Someone had just slipped into the window of the building. The problem was that they were many floors up. Who are you? Midoriya asked, getting to his feet. Yeah, who the hell are you? I was just about to crush these nerds. Don't interrupt, Bakugo yelled angrily. But even he was scared, just like the rest. They all saw the devil. The intruder wore a yellow attire with a black and red Ronin-style karate gi. The character Suki drawn in red. That meant moon, and under his yellow hood he wore a red mask with two horns, sporting samurai-style boots. What was worse, he appeared to have a weapon Izuku recognized as kamas, two hooked blades. Who I am is not important. I have very limited time here. The boss is interested in these drugs, you see. So what better place is there to test a new set than a school full of powerful quirks? Not anything personal. The students were confused as to what this person was talking about, but Midoriya had an idea. Could he be talking about Trigger? The intruder brought out 4 syringes as he assessed the students. They didn't dare move. Just those 3. The girl is, weak. With a flick of his wrist, he threw the syringes at Midoriya, Bakugo, and Ida. The projectiles were so fast, almost none of them could see it. It stabbed Bakugo and Ida in the neck. Midoriya caught the syringe just before it nicked him, much to the assailant's surprise. The attack was so skillful, he was able to get it between Ida's suit. What the? The boys grunted in confusion. Ida and Bakugo crumpled to the ground as Uraraka released her quirk hold on Katsuki. She was sure this was no longer a battle trial. All Might, come in! We need help here! Midoriya called over the comm he was given before the battle began. There's no use. He can't hear you. Communication scrambled, but don't worry. I'm not the threat you'll be facing. Though I find it quite odd you caught that. There's only one other person I know who could do that. The assailant thought momentarily before he jumped out the window. Deku! I'm going to kill you! Bakugo growled in an unearthly tone. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. What are you still doing here? That's all for today's video. So goodbye and have a divine day.